So I'm going to talk a little bit about writing, but then I'm bringing it back to music because we can learn from this analogy. So I like to write, but I usually write poetry and song lyrics. This is where I feel most comfortable. In the last couple of years, I've had this little spark inside me that says maybe one day I'd like to write stories or even a novel. And so there are two kinds of writers. There are plotters. These are the people who plan everything in advance and then write their story. And then there are pantsers. These are the people who start with no plan. They just have an idea and then they write. And so I was looking for some advice on how to go about writing prose because it's something that's new for me, and I found a book that gave me what seemed like a really great system for writing a story or writing a novel. And this book was written by someone who is at heart a plotter, and it involved a very detailed initial planning stage, so detailed that you had to come up with hundreds of plot points for your story, hundreds of points of action that could happen in your story. And then when you had your hundreds, you chose from them and you arranged them into the shape of your story, and then you could write the story. So I did this. I followed the method. I came up with my hundreds of plot points and then I arranged them into the shape of a story. And when I started writing, I couldn't write. I found it really hard. And I never find writing hard when I'm working on my poetry and my song lyrics. For me, that is such a free and creative process. I don't ever feel that like I have writer's block when I'm working on that kind of writing. But working this way, I absolutely felt blocked. It didn't feel like it was coming naturally to me. So more recently, I read the book On Writing by Stephen King. And in contrast, he is a pantser. He never has detailed plot. He just has an idea and he writes, and then he sees where the writing takes him. And reading that, it was kind of like he gave me permission to write this way, because the other book had presented their book as the only way to write a novel. But then I looked at this book by Stephen King and I thought, oh, if Stephen King writes like that, then I can write like that too. And that is the way I write. When I write my poetry and song lyrics, I'm not a plotter. I never plan. I just have an idea or a thought or a little kernel of something, and I write, and I let the writing lead me along that idea. And for me, that is what feels natural. So by reading this book from Stephen King, he gave me permission to try this other method. And so we sometimes find this in our music. We are on a particular path, we're playing a particular style of music. Maybe there's someone we admire and we're following in their own footsteps, but perhaps this is not the right path for us. And it can be quite hard because often we have teachers who present their methods, their paths, their taste in music as the right way to learn. And of course we have to believe and we have to trust our teachers. Usually they have our best interests at heart. But often they're working from a place, they're working from their own personal experience, and their experience is not our experience. So if you are feeling like maybe you are on the wrong path with your music, then I encourage you to explore some other paths, get some other perspectives, other styles of music, other methods, other philosophies of teaching, and just really explore this idea that there are multiple paths and there's no one path that is the right path for every single musician. We are all unique. We all have different ways of learning, different ways of experiencing the world, different ways of expressing ourselves creatively. And so until you explore all those possible paths, you don't know that there is possibly a better path for you to be on. Hi, I'm Erica. I am a musician and music teacher, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more practice tips, motivation and inspiration. And also share this video with any friends who are also practicing music. And finally, if you like, you can stick around for a short meditation at the end of this video to prepare you for a great day's practice. So happy practicing, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So we're going to take a few minutes to prepare for practice, to relax the body and the mind. You can take out your instrument, have any music, books, pencils ready. Then you can sit or stand with your instrument or without. And we're going to start with a soft focus in the eyes. Bring your awareness to the space you're in. Notice any sounds in the room, any smells. And then with the next exhale, closing the eyes. And we bring our awareness in to our bodies, feeling the weight of the body on the chair, or feeling the feet connected with the floor, maybe feeling the instrument in your hands, its texture under your fingers, and then bringing the awareness further in still to the breath and to the place where you feel it, maybe the nose, the throat, the chest, the diaphragm, feeling the rise of each inhale and the release of each exhale. And as you notice the breath, on each exhale, letting every muscle in your body release just a little bit more. Each exhale brings more relaxation to the body and more stillness to the mind. And if thoughts arise, just let them do what it is they want to do. Maybe they float by, maybe they stay. Just bringing your awareness back to the breath, back to each inhale and to the release of the exhale. Every breath, relaxing the muscles in the body just a tiny bit more. And then bringing the awareness back out to the body, to the weight of the body in the chair, the feeling of your feet connected to the floor, the feeling of your instrument under your fingers. Then bringing the attention further out into the space, noticing any sounds in the room, however small they might be. And then gently blinking the eyes open, ready to start practice for the day.